is that we have Prism Mobile, which is new. It was launched the end of January. And with that, we're going to talk about Teradek Data and a little bit about Core as well, because Core is kind of where all of this comes together. So what I would say is Prism Mobile is the next generation of Prism devices. What you can see here is our existing lineup, including the rack unit, our encoder or decoder cards, and the Prism Flex, a desktop throwdown sort of deployable unit. So with that, go ahead and go forward. We have the latest Prism Mobile, which is our camera back unit. It comes in V-Lock as well as gold mount. It has the same features as our Prism codec does everywhere. We do 4K HDR, 10-bit 422, HEVC as well as ABC encoding. The Prism Mobile itself can handle up to a 4K signal, so it does have 12G SDI inputs and a loop out. So if it's something that needs to go in the middle of your workflow, in the middle of the chain somewhere, then you can do this. You can kind of introduce this into your workflow pretty seamlessly. It is our lightest camera back encoder on the market. 900 grams, all said and done, antennas, battery plates, all of that stuff. We wanted to get it as small and as compact as possible because we know the people that are going to be carrying this. You're going to be carrying this on your shoulder. You already have 25, 30 pounds of gear on you already. Having another pound or 3 is not going to be something that you want to add to your camera. So we're trying to get this down as light as possible. This comes with HEVC and ABC encoding over our Teradek bonding protocol. So that's what brings both of those internal modems together and bonds them out to Core, our cloud service, our platform. And what that does is it'll debond all of those signals coming back into Core and spit out the stream so you can send that and disseminate that out. Go back one slide. With this, we have 4 micro SIMs on the device itself. So if you need to mix and match carriers on a single device, you don't have to get these little teeny cards out and try and slam them in and figure out which one goes where. You can do that in the shop before you even go out and pre-program this thing 100%. Like I said, it's a robust small chassis. We tried to go as light as possible, so we machined this thing out of aluminum so you can take a beating and keep on going. So and with inclusion of our Core Cloud, this allows us to kind of orchestrate the entire process from afar. We don't have to be there on site. We can set this up and configure it once, and then when the Prism Mobile turns on, then it's good to go and you have signal going to Core. And so talking about Core, I'll let Tyler take over here and won't have to listen to me talk.
Yeah, so Core is our orchestration platform and bonding platform. It's basically the hub of everything that you do in the digital world. With the Prisms, it allows remote control without sending video. And then you can send video to Core and send it to anywhere. So if you're wanting to send low latency on the Core app, if you want SRT listening servers, MPEG-TS, RTSP, HLS, you can do all of that from Core. You can send outbound as well. We've got built-in Wowza, YouTube, Facebook, Vimeo, and more. And then just generic RTMP, SRT, and MPEG-TS. And then, as you can see, it's a problem-solving mechanism. So if you're sending video from one place, you can route it to this place and this place and this place. And then we also give dedicated servers so that if you're an entity that requires a little more security, we can align that video with that specific IP address. So this is great for enterprise and entities that have a requirement of knowing where that video is coming from. Another thing that we are announcing here is it's called Teradek Data. And this is a fantastic service that allows us to take eSIM chips and program them to any carrier worldwide. Currently, we're offering our best pricing in the US and the EU, but we can deploy anywhere. So if you are going into another country, you can have that data prepped and ready to go, so that you don't have to deal locally with getting SIMs and that sort of thing. One of the awesome things about this solution is we have the ability in the US to do native SIMs. So whether that's Verizon, T-Mobile, and AT&T, what this does is lower your latency quite a bit. And so we can take these SIMs, program them over the air, and you'll get, it's an actual Verizon SIM, it's an actual T-Mobile SIM, and an actual AT&T SIM. So it's a nice way to get super high reliability as well as lower your latency. Additionally, we've got something called a multi-carrier SIM. And what's so amazing about this is we can actually carrier lock on the SIM. So one SIM can flip between carriers within 10 seconds. So if I'm on AT&T and I see in core that those levels, maybe I'm dropping a lot of packets through the AT&T connection, what I can do is actually make that decision from core and flip it over to, say, a Verizon or a T-Mobile that might be performing better. This has a lot of implication for technology for our future. Hopefully we can do this via AI or some sort of algorithm as well that will determine when you should flip. But the beauty of this is it only takes 10 seconds to flip over using the Teradek node devices built in. So this is also available for the EU, and we are expanding as we make deals with other carriers so that we can have standardized pricing across the world for Teradek Data. Another thing about Teradek Data is it actually is a bucket system. So we understand, absolutely understand, that your production doesn't happen in a monthly cadence. It might happen in a month or two, and then you might have a dry spell because you're doing other things, or it's not the right season, or it's not concert season, or. So we understand, and we will give you a bucket of data that all of your SIMs can utilize. So no matter what the country is, what the SIM profile is, you're able to utilize those buckets of data and share them between multiple SIMs. So if you have 100 SIMs and perhaps you're deploying several Prism Mobiles out there, some of the Prism Mobiles are going to get a lot of action, and some of them are not. So we understand that the bucket system works best for our customers, and it allows them to have flexible data during the year with no monthly fees. Here's some illustrations on how this works. So for example, if I was to have native SIMs, I could have a Verizon, a T-Mobile, and an AT&T in the US, and that would lock those SIMs to those networks, and you would be able to use local ingest servers for Verizon, AT&T, and T-Mobile. So you're not leaving the network with the cellular. Here's another illustration is you could have a single multi-carrier or a single carrier network where you could select the best carrier. And the same thing with this US and EU multi-carrier SIMs, where you could select between networks on the fly. And this provides the maximum flexibility. And in combination with the native SIMs, this represents a really powerful introduction of having flexibility and having the maximum speed and lowest latency. So let's take a look at the Prism Mobile and what it looks like.
There's a couple of questions, Tyler, around data. I want to reference those. So the first question from Luis Gonzalez is, will the Prism Mobile units include Teradek Data SIMs by default? And I guess that can go to both of us, but not yet, right? We're going to do that by default.
just as a note, data officially, although we have it available for availability around the world, data officially launches in April at NAB. So we are prepping some final things. We are selling data right now, so it is available to purchase. But understand that the system, the whole entire system in place, won't be there till April 14th. Another thing about this is we have our SIMs coming in, our branded SIMs, and those won't be available until March. In the meantime, we have some SIMs that aren't branded at this time, and we're shipping those out on a case-by-case basis. So right now, data is a white glove experience. You receive the SIMs, they're already activated, ready to go. And then here's the thing. We don't throttle, we don't block. I guess, let me back up my head here. But I am just thinking about all the frustration that I have had with carriers where they will just lock you off at, for example, 60 gigs. We just had a line from Verizon that is cut off at 60 gigs. There is absolutely nothing you can do about that. And so being in the production industry, we're like, how we're willing to pay for more data. How can we do this? And so with that frustration, we introduced this solution where we don't lock you off. Like, go over the 60 gigs, whatever. We'll take care of it afterwards. Not a big deal. But when you're in the middle of production, you don't want to be dealing with data. And so with our solution, you just keep using it. And when you're done using it, great, you're done. It's not like we're going to lock you off. So no throttling, no limits. Is there another question? Sorry, I can't see them.
Yeah, no, there's we got one more here. Let's see. And Albert is not holding back his questions anymore, and he's just going to start dumping them in here, which is great. Teradek Data replaces Telna, yes?
Yes. So we are no longer shipping Telna SIMs. All the Telna SIMs that are out there are valid. We will have a special deal for Telna users. So if this is something you're interested in, give us a contact your local sales rep, and we'll get you started on a plan. So the advantages over Telna, by the way, is number one, in the US, we have Verizon and we have native. Number two, we have support for the EU at the same price, and we have support worldwide. So if you need to go into a country, if you need to go into a country of some sort, you can do that. So if you need to go to Brazil from the US, you can do that. Totally possible to do. So there's a lot of flexibility, and we are taking responsibility for your data. No longer is it a third party like Telnet was.
So are these going to be physical SIMs or eSIMs? You have eSIM here, right?
Yes.
And our devices are shipping with physical SIM slots. So how are we gonna? What's your input on that?
Yes. So to start, we ship with physical SIMs that are eSIMs. So the whole concept of eSIM is that it's a programmable SIM. These are programmable SIMs. They can be anything. So if you are in the field, we can flip that carrier for you and change that. Now, in the future, just so you understand our roadmap, we actually have built-in SIMs that will be deployed in the future in some of our devices. So you will see upgrades in the Node and other devices, newer devices that will have that built-in eSIM chip. So that's kind of the way we're going. Obviously, we start out with physical SIMs because that's what our devices support right now, but it doesn't take away from the eSIM capability, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, I think that answers a definite question from Albert. A couple questions though. This is going to work device wide, right? We're device agnostic. We're not going to say that you have to have a Prism and it only works on Prism. I can stick this into a competitor device as well, right? And use this
Absolutely.
for anything, not just
Yeah.
Teradek.
So with these SIMs, they have the ability to, number one, be native. So you plug it in, we'll give you an APN. You drop that in, and you can use it in any device. For the carrier locking, that is something special that we can do with our devices because we control the whole chain.
Now, what does carrier locking do for the customer?
So check it out. Like, this is what I mentioned before. But if you have a SIM in the US with AT&T, T-Mobile, and Verizon, you are able to carrier lock to one of those. And then within 10 seconds, you can flip over to another carrier and even trigger that from core. So our node has, because we have control over the node and the whole chain leading up, we can actually flip carriers within 10 seconds using the multi-carrier SIM. On native SIMs, you can use those with any device. You can use the multi-carrier SIM with any device. It'll just randomly pick, sort of like the Telma SIMs.
For those who don't know, what's the benefit of having a native carrier instead of a multi-carrier?
So where we offer it, native carriers allow lower latency. So when you are on Verizon, there are Verizon servers available, right? And those are available quite close to where the user is connecting. When you're using something like our triple carrier SIM, or there's other technologies out there, what has to happen is you have to exit the local network and go to a server in the US, for example. And so that adds a slight bit of latency. So we're talking, instead of 70 milliseconds round trip from core, you're looking at, I was saying, like 120 or 150 milliseconds round trip. So this technology, while it does add latency, it gives you flexibility. So you're trading latency for flexibility in that case, but utilizing, say, our Bond devices or this Prism Mobile device, you could have a native carrier and you could have the flexibility of having a multi-carrier. So there's a lot of power there in your particular, shall we say, your particular location. You have the ability to change that on the fly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know how many times I get to a spot and then it fills up with a bunch of people, and now the service that I tested on yesterday is no longer valid. So, having that ability to kind of flip around and get what you need to when you need it is, an easy win, I think, for most customers. So
absolutely. And we've run into this, practically speaking, where they're like, hey, the day before the Super Bowl, all the cell was great. But Verizon sucked at that time. So what are you going to do about that? You just suffer through it? No, we give you the tools to make the change, so you can get through your event on the fly.
Right. Yeah, you can't, when in live production, you can't just stop and say, like, as everybody witnessed earlier today, anything can happen, and live production needs to be flexible. So having the most flexibility in your pocket, in your device, is kind of where we're heading here. So all right, so let's take a look at the Prism Mobile in detail. So we talked about the 12G connectors, HDMI, HDMI 2.0. We have, if you're familiar with any of our Prism Flex, you'll be familiar with this device as well. The only difference is that this contains two Node 2 modems internally on the device. This, however, creates a problem with battery and uptime. So we've been asked a lot, does this have a battery internal? Will it keep, everything powered on? And unfortunately, no. What we did is, again, trying to save weight, trying to save, surface area and get it as small and as compact as possible. We didn't want to add anything to that. So having an external battery, you can plug that in using the 18 watt power there on the 2-pin circular connector. If you wanted to have some sort of battery backup on it. Since this has 2 modems in it, we offered ports here for the external LTE, either through USB-A and external storage. So you can actually connect a USB-A drive to this and record on an outboard device. Or you can connect an additional node modem to this, giving you 3 4G LTE modems to bond together. On top of that, this unit still has dual gigabit Ethernet. It still has Wi-Fi. And if you set this up as an access point, you can actually tether up to 4 cell phones to your Wi-Fi access point and increase that safety net, your streaming safety net here. All the operation, we went back to the cube type of menu operation where you have a joystick to actually select different things and drive into the menus. The Flex had a single button, and we found that there was a lot of issue with controlling that UI and trying to get the interface to do what you needed to do quickly. Since this is a camera back and it's going to primarily be on the back of an ENG camera, we wanted to make that really flexible, and we wanted to make a lot of the functions on the outside of that device, so you didn't have to dive into an app or the web UI or core or anything else. So it's a little bit more functionality with that. Go ahead. One other thing that we did with this release is we kind of streamlined how the process works to get the device into core. So with every device, we're shipping it with this nice little QR code here that will send you to what we call a link tree, which is the purple menu here to the right of the screen. What that does is it gives you a very easy onboard to get yourself into core, register your device. It also allows you to send firmware. So the latest firmware for the device is going to be within this link tree as well as any videos and other knowledge-based technical specs. All of that is in one place. So instead of having to try and find that and search for it, scan it, and you can see that firsthand. Again, one other thing that we did too is we actually put a QR on the device. So this is a nice high strength sticker. I know it's a sticker, but it's a really good sticker. So this should stay on here for the life of the device, and anybody that picks up this device can scan this and go to that page and make sure that they have all the information they need to get their device up and running. So let's see. Core file, go ahead and go forward one if you would there, Tyler. So typical use case for the Prism Mobile. Prism Mobile camera back, latches to the back of a camera. I don't know if you can see this. I'm going to move this in the frame here real quick. Oh.
We had it set up so nice.
Well, it was all nice and set up before for the other thing, and then that didn't work. So let's see if this works here. We're doing it on the fly, people. We're doing it on the fly. Just making it work, right? No stress. But I have Blackmagic G2 here with a Prism Mobile on the back of it. We have 4 SIMs internally, and we're connecting 4K UHD into the Prism Mobile. The battery is just powering the Prism Mobile itself. By itself, if you just needed to power this thing, it would last for about 3.5 hours, just on its own, on a 90 watt-hour battery. Powering the camera, obviously, you're going to use a lot more power. So this is the form factor here. It comes with 2 different types of antennas. You can have these high gain, gnarly looking fatty antennas. I don't know, thick. What's the terminology? High gain. That's the good terminology. And then, if you needed something that did not stick up and over most of your camera body, you can use these lower gain antennas too. And it ships with both. So you have the flexibility of, in more rural areas, use the high gain antennas. If you're downtown, or if you know you're close to the cell tower, you're going to be okay with these here. So typical use case here, which is kind of represented by this diagram as well. So we have the camera. It's obviously not a Z750. All of us love the Z750, but trying to get a hold of them, that's a little difficult. You're still alive there, bud.
Yeah, sorry.
So this is our bonding protocol here in the middle that kind of takes both of those things together. The flex bonds as well. So this is nothing new. We've been working on this Teradek bonding protocol for the life of Teradek. So this is very close to us. Everything goes up into core. Core can either transcode that or take that in a different way and send that out however you need, whether it's to a switcher, whether it's to YouTube. This is a sub switch from the high tower pickleball open. We know how strong pickleball is now here in the States anyway. I have a couple friends that actually do that every week. But this is a remote production with 2 cameras switched into a video switcher, and then using this Prism Mobile as sort of a safety net to your entire stream, you can add 3 modems plus your internet, plus Wi-Fi, plus everything else, and kind of combine all of those things together to make sure that you have a robust stream coming up to core.
I think there was a user, because we're using Zoom here. I'm going to stop sharing. Could you just bring that closer so people can see it? The Prism.
Oh, there's here?
Yeah, because it was a little small.
Okay. Hey, let's go.
Yeah, and I think people would love to see the form factor on the camera.
Yeah, look at that. You can see my floor too. I had all of this set up over there. All right.
Yeah,
does that work for me? Here, I can go a little bit further forward before we start knocking into stuff. So yeah, this is our form factor here for the Prism Flex, or Prism Mobile, sorry. Underneath here, I'll spin it around too, so you can see the other side. So it's just at the base of the G2 with the plate, and then just a little bit over the top where the XLRs plug in here. And then your entire screen and flow happens through here. So you can switch through the screens there and check your bit rate of each modem. You can switch slots externally. You don't have to go into the device at all through the web UI. You can also do this through the app as well, and core, but you don't have to. You can go here and change your bit rate, change your audio bit rate, make sure you're connected to core, get your IPs, all that good stuff, just from this device right on the outside of the OLED menu. Let's see, do we have any questions there? The audio, 2 bolts. Are there any issues if we use 2 Prism units in close proximity of 2 bolt 4K units with regards to interference? No. This is you're going to get more interference from the people around you and the bolt than this device itself. They're not operating on the same frequencies. Tyler, you want to say something?
Yeah. I wanted to say on that. So the bolt does use 5 gigahertz. It also uses 6 gigahertz. So if you are doing some sort of Wi-Fi sharing, that would be something that you would need to make sure that this is on 2 gigahertz, not 5 gigahertz, when you're doing the cellular Wi-Fi sharing that we offer.
All right, should we go back to the presentation?
Yeah, here we go.
Left in here. Wait, are we missing any questions?
There was one on the data function.
Yes. Go for
and let me pull it up here. So do these sims work with the video go? Mm-hmm. So Yes, they do. Absolutely. However, in terms of the modems on there, the node ones, they work in certain circumstances. So if this is something you're wanting to do with the node ones, you need to contact us and make sure that this works for you. If this is something you're doing with node twos and the video go, no problems there. Additionally, we'll be releasing a firmware for the video go, the Cube 700, and those will work with carrier locking for Teradek Data. The 600 series will work with the native SIMs, but not with, and it really depends on your modem. So if you were shipped with node ones, we can give you native SIMs that should work for those. The multi-carrier SIM does require the node 2 to execute properly. So that's kind of the caveat to all of that. If you want to contact us, we can work with you to get you the package that you need.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. So Albert asks, so deliveries when? When is data live?
Data is live right now.
Data is live right now. Prism Mobile is live right now.
We can, and I'm going to reshare this, this screen here and go to slideshow. Okay, so we can ship this to you at any time. With Prism Mobile orders, it's something that we make available to those who contact us. If there's anybody who actually wants it, right now, we can ship these SIMs out tomorrow. We will pre-provision them in the US. In other countries, they need to arrive to that country, and then we trigger the provisioning once they're connected to the local networks there. So we have availability. We just tested in Portugal, Germany, UK, France, and we will test more as the use cases come along. But yeah, good performance over there, and the ability to have that multi-carrier is pretty neat in the EU.
Nice. Yeah. So there's a question from Jordan Paul. Jordan asks, is there a way to transfer lens data integrations with Teradek RT? Not at this time. We're not looking to integrate with Teradek RT. That is primarily a bolt technology, an RF technology, and this is an IP technology. So just kind of splitting those two things apart within the division that Teradek that we're in, that's where we kind of reside. Is this is an IP product, just like Teradek Serve, just like Prism, just like Cube, whereas the RT and that lens data that's transferred over that is an RF based product like Bolt and Ranger for live production. Do we offer any? Luis Gonzalez asked, do you offer any type of documentation confirming the bands the built-in modems use? Yes. So
absolutely.
We will relinquish all of those. Those are usually in our tech specs, I believe.
Yeah, it's in the tech specs on our website. Correct. So if you search for the Node 2, those tech specs are there, and you can see all the frequencies that they support, which is worldwide, by the way. Every country we've entered in, we've had success in. Generally speaking, just for those in Latin America, check with your carrier in terms of authorization. Generally, they're pretty tight on things, so you have to work with your carrier to provide them the IMEI and a few other things. And if you need any support in that arena, for example, we just did one in Ecuador where the carrier needed to authorize that specific module. And so we can help you authorize that in your country and provide any documentation.
Exactly. So the Node 2 and the Prism Mobile do share the same modem. Yes, the Node 2 was a modem that we released last year, right? 2 years ago?
Yeah.
Last year.
Something like that. Yeah.
And we've now built those two in, built two of them into a mobile device. So, Manolo's on here too. There you can find this. Hi Manolo, how you doing, buddy?
So here's a couple more use cases, or are there more questions?
No, I'm just kind of diving through. I think we covered everything else. If anybody has anything, put it in chat before we get out of here. I know we're running late and we have about 5 minutes left. So if you want to fast forward a little bit, we can go through another slide. And so I just want to go over this streaming safety net, which is kind of what I've been talking about the whole day, is not the whole day, for at least a little bit anyways, is having all of these choices, on your device to make sure that you get the signal out and where it needs to go. I've worked in ballrooms before. I've done a lot of different things in different places, and having internet that you can rely on is very difficult to find. So having more options than you need means that you're going to succeed in more cases than none. And so having a Prism Mobile here to have that streaming safety net, to get it up to core and then do whatever you want with it, is a perfect solution to really, really bad internet, which is everywhere.
So I remember we were streaming a wedding at a golf place around here, and we were just doing it. I think it was one of our friends or something like that. One of the friends of Teradek. So we were over there streaming, and they provided us a connection and then proceeded to QoS all over that connection. And so it was pretty much useless for a standard stream, but we were able to pull part of the data off of that while using LTE and other things. So it does happen where networks which are tightly controlled will stamp down those video packets that are coming through. So it's nice as a supplement to your LTE and everything else.
Exactly. Go ahead one more forward here, and I'll answer. There's Massimo asks, is there any possibility to transfer data streams from MNC, which I believe master control, from Prism decoder to Prism Mobile and vice versa, like managing a PTZ remote camera? That's something else we're looking at. That's another webinar, sir. Remote camera, yeah, and PTZ. Do you want to talk about that at all, or should we save that?
So I will drop a little hint here. And come see us at NAB. We're going to actually have a demo of this product. I guess it's not really a secret since we've had it out. But we have the ability to capture existing streams and provide PTZ control back to the device. You will see upgrades into our encoding devices as well for control aspects. So whether that's Vista or on-VIF control, you will see those upgrades probably within the next 6 months or so. But we do have a product that specifically captures PTZs or third-party streams and then bonds them right to core. And so it allows you to take your existing infrastructure, whether that's I don't know, broadcast infrastructure, drones, or anything else, and that will allow you to get that to core, get it to the cloud, and get it distributed. So that little hint there, we're going to probably have another webinar post NAB, because we will launch that. And NAB is in Las Vegas, so if you guys need a ticket or anything, contact us. We have some codes where you can register there. But you'll be able to see it there. I would suggest you stop by the booth, check out the demo for the bridge. It's called the bridge. The demo for this new product. And this just complements the fleet of encoding and non-encoding products that we have for bonding.
Yeah. No, it's gonna be a great thing. You guys should, anybody, you guys, girls, everybody should come by Teradek and take a look at it. Austin White asked, could I use IP-based lens control like Scarhoy to shade a remote camera over the internet? And yes, I figured out how to pronounce Scarhoy from my friends in the Netherlands. So thank you, Albert, for telling me how to speak correctly. Not through Prism Mobile. So to answer your question, Austin, so what you're talking about is a VPN or a tunnel, an IP tunnel. And what you want to do is tunnel from your master control back to wherever the camera is. Right now, Prism does not have an IP tunnel or a data tunnel. It's something that we're looking at. It's something that we're working on, but we want to make sure that the streaming part of Prism Mobile works 110% before we start adding anything to it. So we want to roll this out and trickle it out in a way that doesn't affect live production and have a negative effect on live production, because we don't want to roll out anything that doesn't work and you guys have issues on your streams and all your productions. So part of that is an IP tunnel that goes from either core or a decoder to an encoder and vice versa. So
let me just add to that really quick,
yeah.
as this is kind of my up my alley here.
Sure.
I would love for you to reach out to us at lpgroup@cs.inc. And this was Austin, right?
This is
You
Austin.
said this? Yeah, Austin. If you could reach out to us, what you are trying to do is exactly what we want to do, and we'd love to hear some of the use cases that you have for this, and we have a relationship with Scarhoy. So it may be that this is something we can integrate into our devices in the future. So if you can reach out to us at lpgroup@cs.inc, and I'll also try to get your registration as well and kind of see what we can do with that. But we're super excited about the whole control aspect of this. And while, yeah, you would have to have a VPN currently, with our products in the future, the roadmap is to attack that specific problem.
Right. Streamline that a little bit. Let's see. May have missed it, but did you talk about price point? Price point for Prism Mobile. Prism Mobile without plates. So just your desktop version, it'll come with feet and the antennas and all the rest of the package. Just the desktop version is $49.90 MSRP. If you want to add plates to it, it's $54.90, $5490 USD MSRP. And that's for Jeremy Kaufman. Is there a way to change bands from internal and external SIMs or modems? For example, changing automatic to manual bands of internet, band 24740. Do we have?
So, okay. This is another thing I'm looking into, and I'm super interested in your use case for this. We do have the ability internally, so this is not a feature that we have out there, but we do have the ability to lock the Prism to certain bands. This is obviously is not advantageous for people who just need it to work. So that's not great at all. But in my thinking, as I'm streaming, one of the SIMs I want to have on, say, band 2, 1900. And then I want to have another SIM on band 4, and then my low band type stuff I want to have on 700, 600 in that area, which I believe is like band,
what?
I want to say 12 is 700. I think there's 13 as well. That's the Verizon ones. And then band 77, which I think is the T-Mobile 600. So while we do have the ability to do that, we haven't had somebody driving that in terms of need. So again, if you'd like to reach out to us and express that need. Is this Miguel from
Miguel,
Peru?
Please reach out.
Perfect.
The contact is right below that, lpgroup@cs.inc. And that goes for everybody on this call. Please reach out, give us your workflows, your use cases. We need this. This is what product managers kind of live and die on is use and how the customers actually use this. So I'm not in the field anymore. I can't be in the field anymore. I have to be here. And I need everybody who uses our product or wants to use our product or is in live production to send us what they do. And, we'll meet together with you. We'll have a Zoom that actually has audio, a live stream that has audio from the beginning, none of this crazy troubleshooting at the last minute sort of thing. But for me, I want to say thank you to everybody who joined today. I think we had 75 or so people, 80 people on at one point here. Tyler, do you want to add anything else before we wrap this up?
I just love talking about product and future product. We listen to everybody, and as we build this stuff out, it's great to see how our customers use things and what they're trying to do. And we want to align our products moving forward with those uses. So thank you all for joining. Really appreciate it.
Yeah. And don't forget, send us whatever you have to lpgroup@cs.inc.